Welcome back to another video. This is video 4 in the Porsche Macan ICE engine users like a video user's manual. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the PCM, which is this main computer here in your Porsche Macan. PCM stands for Porsche Communication Management. So there's lots of things that this computer can do. I'm going to tell you how to do the basic setup first, and then tell you what I use when I get into these cars. And of course, you could use whatever you'd like, but I'll show you how the principle behind the system works, and then you could choose what is important to you in your Porsche Macan. So when you first get into your Porsche, you'll see that you'll have the option to log in to your car. And this is something that will be emailed to you once you accept or confirm ownership of your Macan. When you purchase it, you'll get a Porsche ID. And in a Macan, it'll be an 8-digit pairing code. This is where you'll enter it. If there's no ID assigned, this will be blank, and it'll just ask you, would you like to log into your car or start or link a new Porsche ID? So this is where you'll do it from this screen. This is how you can tell if it's currently logged in. You'll have a little green a dot here with active listed. This is just a notice of your recent destinations within the Porsche navigation system. This is whatever media is up and playing right now. This is one of the options of how to do voice control within the Porsche, or the Porsche's version of Siri. And then this tells you what calls you recently made. Now this whole screen can be configured. If you do see a hamburger drop down, as we call them, this gives you the option to configure either the home screen or what's called an info widget that just shows up here in the side if you're in Apple CarPlay. So if you go into configure a home, it'll give you all these options. You'll have basic layouts that you can choose to have. And any of these layouts you can choose to be your home screen. And then if you want to change whatever shows up in these different blocks or squares within your home screen, you could, over here on the right, hold and then drag to wherever you want it within the home screen. So you have all these options that you could have in all these different large, medium, and small squares in the home screen. Then once you're done, you'll just hit confirm, and that's what will show up in your home screen. And that goes to the same for your info widget, which is a smaller screen that'll show up here if you're in CarPlay. On the left side here, you'll have the main menu buttons within the screen. You have home, you have navigation, which is the car's nav system. Then you'll have media, which tells you what media is currently playing. And again, you'll see a drop down, a couple drop downs here. This main drop down tells you what source you're in. So if you want to change that, you do the drop down, and you could change it to whatever these options you have. Once I pair my phone, you'll see my phone will show up here as well, or be listed as Bluetooth. Over here is your phone, and this is for if you're using the car's SIM card as your telephone, or we could pair our phone. So we'll go ahead and do that now while we're in this section. So we'll search for a new phone, and I'm going to go into my cell phone and go into the Bluetooth settings so it could find a phone. And there it found my phone, so I'll click on that, and then you'll follow the instructions in your phone. It's going to ask me permission to pair. So I'm going to say yes, that's me. I'm going to allow it to sync my contacts and favorite list. And I think the last thing it'll ask is if I want to use CarPlay. If you like CarPlay, which I highly recommend, it works very well in a Porsche, I'll go ahead and hit connect. And then also accept the terms in the PCM here for CarPlay. Now, when you go to phone, it'll ask you if you want to use the PCM or the car's SIM card or use Apple CarPlay as your phone. In this case, we'll want to use Apple CarPlay. And the first time that you use Apple CarPlay, it takes a second for it to turn up. So right now it's defaulting to the car's phone, but we can go into devices. And this is the CarPlay logo, so we could click on that if it doesn't automatically turn on, and you'll see there's CarPlay. And this is that info widget I was talking about. A lot of people ask is, can't you just make CarPlay go the whole width of the screen? And as it turns out, in this version of the communication system or management system, this is the maximum size of CarPlay. You'll always have this info widget over on this side tied to the car's computer. So this is CarPlay, and I recommend, the way I like to do it whenever I get into any Porsche is I connect CarPlay and I use CarPlay for everything. The only time that I'll get out of CarPlay is I want to do any kind of vehicle settings. So there's things that you can't do in CarPlay. Adjust the sound if you want to adjust where the sound is, the tone, bass, treble, things like that. You'll come into sound. Vehicle settings, you'll have to come out of CarPlay to do all these different settings. Car system settings. This lets you, each one of these is a sub menu to change things within the PCM, and then whenever there's an arrow, that means that there's a menu behind it that you could change as well. So it's just knowing how to get around the system. Just knowing that whenever you have a little optionable square in whatever screen you're looking at, you can get into that screen. And when there's an arrow, there's another sub menu behind that where you could turn on and off different things. I like the collision warning. Let's turn that on. So I always suggest people, just when you're sitting in the parking lot waiting for someone, just start clicking around in these menus and sub menus, toggling on things and things on and off to see what things that you like. Most of them are self-explanatory as to what they do. Then when you're done with that, you could see the Apple CarPlay logo is here on the left, and you could toggle back into Apple CarPlay. That's another way to tell if CarPlay is active. If this logo isn't here on this left side screen, but you know you've used Apple CarPlay before, you'll just go back into your devices menu, and then this will be white. That means it's selectable, but it's just not on. So if you want to use CarPlay, you'll have to click on that again, turn it green, and then CarPlay will turn back on again. You'll see that the logo showed up here on the left side. So that's the basic functionality of the PCM. Coming back out of CarPlay to home, remember whenever you see a hamburger drop down, that gives you other options within the screen you're looking at. This takes you just to the settings menu just real quickly. This lets you know that there's a phone paired. It takes you to the phone settings. This tells you as well, will get you to the phone settings as well. It's just the way, and that tells you how strong your signal is to the car's antenna. So that's the basic functionality of this PCM. So, Porsche made it this way so that you can have several different ways of getting to the same menu. It's made so that you set it up once when you get the car, and then you use this as little as possible when driving, that you're going to use mostly your steering wheel to get through any kind of driving settings that you have. So I'm going to move the camera over so you can see how to use voice control. We're going to talk about how to tell the difference between using the car's PCM version of Siri versus Siri on your cell phone. So if you could see here, we have enough contrast. On the end of the steering wheel here, you have a button, and it has a picture of a half head with, a voice coming out of it. That's your voice control button, in which you could do most things on your PCM by just pressing this button. The way you differentiate between the car's version of Siri is by how long you press the button. So a quick press on this button will turn on the car's version of Siri that we showed before. And this is it. And it gives you examples of things that you could have it do depending on what menu or what left side menu item you're looking at. Nav, music, stations, things like that.
Please repeat your entry.
So since you want to cancel it, just tap it again and it gets out of it. Now to go to Siri, say you're in this menu, but you want to turn on Apple Siri, you'll just hold it down for 2 seconds. Now Siri comes on, and you could tell it to do whatever you normally tell Siri to do. Another way you could turn on Siri is if you have voice activation of Siri enabled to, you could just say, "Hey Siri." It will also listen to that and turn on Siri as well. So that's just most of the way that Porsche wants you to use the PCM is by the voice control button so that you have to be as little distracted or distracted as little as possible by this screen right here. So that's the gist of,
I don't understand.
oh, cancel that. So that's the gist of the PCM. And so if you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments. And as usual, I always offer to, if you would like a personal tour of your Porsche, you can get a hold of me and we could set something else if you didn't buy your car from Porsche Irvine. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll look forward to the next one where I go into down here in this bottom section of the center console about heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and the other settings that are available here in your 22 through 26 Porsche Macan. Thanks for joining me.